Welcome to the Memory and History channel. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on more videos like this one.
Conrad Helbig photographed a mummy at Santa Maria della Pace in Palermo during 1954, documenting the Capuchin catacombs' preserved bodies, a famous Sicilian site containing thousands of mummified remains. Remains of a prisoner lie in a crematorium furnace at Buchenwald concentration camp after liberation in 1945. Photographed by Margaret Berkwhite documenting Nazi genocide's horrific evidence discovered by Allied forces. A migrant mother and children walk along the road in 1939, documenting the continuing effects of the Great Depression and Dust Bowl migration patterns as families sought work and better opportunities. Frozen bodies of dead German soldiers lie during the Battle of Stalingrad circa winter 1942 to 1943, documenting the devastating casualties and brutal conditions of the Eastern Front's deadliest urban battle. A Soviet soldier advances over the bodies of Japanese soldiers at Muka and the Kumosa Pass, documenting combat during Soviet-Japanese border conflicts or the 1945 Manchurian Campaign in the Pacific Theater. Francisco Rojas, Juan Aguilar and José Moreno are executed by Federal Army officials loyal to Carranza for stealing military supplies at Northwest Railroad Station, Ciudad Juárez, Mexico, on January 15, 1916. Two Blackfeet warriors look across what is now Glacier National Park in Montana during the early 1900s, showing Native American presence in these ancestral lands before widespread Euro-American settlement. Two U.S. Army MPs appear slightly amused while interrogating two German grade school children pressed into military service in 1945. German soldiers under 17 were briefly questioned then sent home. Theo van Gogh, great-grandson of Vincent van Gogh's brother, photographed in 2004, the year he was murdered on November 2 by an Islamist angered by his film's submission about women's oppression. A photographer takes pictures of atomic tests at Bikini Atoll in 1946, documenting the United States nuclear weapons testing program in the Marshall Islands during the early post-World War II period. Athlete and strong woman Miriam Kate Williams, known as Volcana, displays her signature long flowing hair in the 1890s, representing early female physical culture performers and vaudeville strongwoman acts. A French soldier carries a wounded fellow soldier near the Dardanelles in October 1915 during the Gallipoli campaign, showing battlefield rescue efforts amid intense World War I combat operations. The Unforgiven, directed by John Huston in 1960, was a Western film starring Audrey Hepburn and Burt Lancaster, exploring themes of racism and family secrets on the American frontier. Dolores Costello, a Ziegfeld girl, photographed by Alfred Cheney Johnston circa 1923, representing the glamorous Broadway performers who appeared in Florence Ziegfeld's famous theatrical productions during the Roaring Twenties. A young officer of the Red Army stands in uniform circa 1920, documenting Soviet military personnel during the Russian Civil War period following the Bolshevik Revolution and establishment of communist rule. Original color photograph shows a hunter near Urga, now Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia, on July 20, 1913, documenting traditional Mongolian hunting culture and early color photography in Central Asia during this era. Seven-year-old George Clooney poses with his family in 1968, showing the future Academy Award-winning actor and director during his childhood years before his entertainment career and Hollywood stardom. A German mass grave at Gavreil, France, is excavated in 1999, uncovering remains of World War I soldiers decades after the conflict, allowing modern archaeological and historical investigation of casualties. M4 Sherman tank crew poses with equipment, additional weapons and ammunition in 1943, showing the standard American medium tank that became the backbone of Allied armored forces during World War II. Rare photographs inside battleship Nagato document the interior of the Imperial Japanese Navy flagship, showing operational spaces within one of Japan's most powerful capital ships during the World War II era. A British Army chaplain says a prayer over a dying German Army medic near Épinay, France, on September 18, 1918, demonstrating compassion and religious ministry amid World War I's final offensive. Saudi scientist Ibrahim Al-Alam performs prayers in front of a Soviet nuclear icebreaker at the North Pole during a 1990 expedition with the Soviet Navy, showing international scientific cooperation. Bob Crane poses with Nita Talbot and Arlene Martel on the set of Hogan's Heroes, the popular television comedy series set in a German prisoner of war camp during World War II. Mitsubishi J-2M Navy Interceptors, Raiden/Jack. From 302nd Kokutai photographed in August 1945, only days before war's end, showing Japanese fighter aircraft during the Pacific Theater's final moments. Farmers hang nooses at a foreclosure auction to intimidate outside bidders in Michigan during 1936, showing rural resistance to farm seizures during the Great Depression's agricultural economic crisis. A Frenchman offers wine to a U.S. soldier in Perriers, France, during 1944, documenting the warm welcome American forces received from French civilians during liberation operations following D-Day landings. November 24, 1825, Sweden. The Makalos Theatre fire in Stockholm destroys the historic building, representing one of Scandinavia's significant cultural losses during the 19th century period of urban development. On November 24, 1963, Lee Harvey Oswald, accused of assassinating President Kennedy, was fatally shot by nightclub owner Jack Ruby in Dallas Police Headquarters basement, shocking the nation and world. The Russian imperial family photographed in 1901, showing Tsar Nicholas II, Tsarina Alexandra, and their children during the Romanov dynasty's final decades before the 1917 revolution ended their rule. Martine Frank photographed Newcastle upon Tyne, England in 1977, documenting British industrial city life during the late 20th century through the renowned photographer's distinctive documentary style and vision. An Italian soldier stationed in the Aegean holds two Fiat Modello 1435 machine guns with tripods while a comrade rests on his shoulders, demonstrating strength and camaraderie among troops. The moment Hitler declared war on the USA on December 11, 1941, is documented, showing Nazi Germany's fateful decision to expand World War II by directly confronting American military and industrial power. U-462 supplies U-755, U-373, U-569, and U-135 in the North Atlantic on September 6, 1942, showing German submarine resupply operations that extended U-boat patrol ranges during the Battle of the Atlantic. Dolores Costello, a Ziegfeld girl, photographed by Alfred Cheney Johnston circa 1923, representing the glamorous Broadway performers who appeared in Florence Ziegfeld's famous theatrical productions during the Roaring Twenties. A young girl at a school for black civil rights activists trains to not react to hair pulling and smoke blown in her face during 1960, preparing for nonviolent resistance.